Okay, so I was in the process of regularizing the edge, thinning down the ends for work in the middle. Now this dip in here is going to be might be an issue. I think it's going to be an issue because it really is a really bad scoop out. I'll make it as thin as I possibly can. How's that? Although this material is not very cooperative. It's going to be a pain in the butt, like I said in the previous video. It's raw bull gravel. It can be used to make projectile points, and it was used in the past, but it's much easier to deal with if you heat treat it. I just don't have a means to do it right now. And it's expensive to heat treat, to be heat treating a bunch of stuff. Like I should throw 90% of my material that I have right now into the turkey roaster and heat treat it and spend 2 weeks heat treating, but then the electric bill goes up by about $100. Full-time heat treating cost me about $50 a week. The last time I did some accounting on that. Yeah, that's luck, bad luck. So I could say that I don't care if that was bad luck, as my skill says that I needed to remove part of that edge anyway so I can have a sharp point. So I could tell you that that's a controlled break, but I'd be lying. In a way I'm lying, in a way I'm not. Because it's still, you know, but it still survived. I'd be lying if I say that I control that. But since every flake is controlled to some extent, I'm not really wrong that it's controlled. But I'm not fully correct either. It's one of those gray areas. And people who like to exaggerate or whatever love those gray areas because then they can get away with exaggeration or whatever. You know, plausible deniability. I wasn't trying to lie to you because, you know, it's partially right. That kind of thing. But I feel like I would be lying if I said that was controlled. And it goes, yes, it goes for overshots too. I'd be lying to you if I said that if I do an overshot, that was controlled. It's partially true. Partially true because all flakes are controlled to some extent. That's why. Okay. Generally speaking, all flakes are controlled to a certain extent. Okay. Now I'm going to be hitting extremely hard. The harder I hit, the more I have to grind it, or the stronger the platform needs to be. Platform strength is proportional to the strength of the blow, to the force of the blow. It didn't go as far as I wanted. It stopped short, as you can see. Did I think it was going to stop short before I hit it? No. Could I have made it? Could I have done a better job on doing the platform? Yes, but it's hindsight. So I look at it, I say, well, okay, let's do the next strike with a different position of the platform, and maybe it'll work better. So I'm going to make it more narrow, which puts the platform in a better position, or puts the edge in a better position for me to drive a flake. I'm going to demonstrate to you in a minute a way that you can see how far your flakes are going to travel. It's a way that you can help predict where you should hit, if I can remember. Let's just see. Yeah, that didn't work. Then it could have been bad luck. Or it could have been just strictly insufficiently prepared platform, that sort of thing. Let's see if I can demonstrate how big of a flake that I can get off of this. I'm not going to be able to on this yet. Let's see. Yeah, I'm hitting it as hard as I possibly can, and it's not going anywhere. Not a big deal because it happens a lot. A lot of times I reach my max. I can't hit any harder. All right, this might be a way to show you what I mean. See how long that flake is? Yeah, we can all see how long it is. All right, so that's about the maximum amount of flake length, I would say, on a good ridge. It followed that ridge. That was a no-brainer, low-hanging fruit, so to speak. Low-hanging fruit means it's the easy way. Okay, you follow the ridge. What I did was I weakened and reduced this obstacle. Now I can do something with it. I can probably punch the front of that and remove it if it doesn't have a backing to it. But the thing I was trying to do is, this length of flake is what you can use to measure future flakes. Like if you have a step fracture there and you want to shoot from the other side to remove it, does that flake reach? No. So I wouldn't try it. Does a flake reach from there if you wanted to do that way? Like maybe from here or from here. It still doesn't reach. I wouldn't try it. It doesn't reach from anywhere. You can't really get to that step fracture from another direction from anywhere on the point. So it's got to be more narrow. You're pushing your luck if you try to do it from any other angle to try to get rid of that step fracture. It's got to become more narrow. Okay, so you can use a previous flake that you feel confident that you can actually do to measure how far these flakes are going to travel on the workpiece. Now I did that in the video that I deleted. I had a better example, but I hope that kind of helps people out there. Okay. In my mind, I estimate, but I look at the flake scar itself. I don't take a flake and I don't put it on the workpiece. I just look at this length and I estimate. Yeah, that's going to be dicey to try to get that. Now, before I shot big old flakes, much bigger. I got this off of the thing, so I'm not going to take this and go, look, I can do this big flake, so why shouldn't I be able to shoot across right there like that? Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. They're all like this. No. You are looking for flakes that you can produce during this particular stage. So just before you want to tackle that, look at what you're actually doing just before you tackle that. Don't be looking at the original reduction and say, yeah, oh, look, if I can do this, I can wipe out anything and anywhere because I got the range. Anywhere along there, I can, no. You look at the previous flakes just before you want to take that off. Okay? All right. See, right now it's getting hard to hold stiff. So you're going to have to hit harder. Increase the speed on your hits. And it really takes its toll on the tip of the tool. It really takes its toll. See how it beats it up? So I'm going to switch to a cleaner side for this next strike, just because I need to maintain that a little bit better, or I need to maintain that so it looks better on the next strikes. Why? Because that's what you should be doing with every strike, but I haven't, for the sake of expediency. Is expediency logical? No, it's kind of irrational to do it in an expedient manner. It's kind of irrational because it's not a perfect solution. It's more rational to develop a more perfect solution. But Flintknapping isn't driven always by rationality. Okay? You don't always have to be perfectly rational when Flintknapping, although it does help. I'm not saying it's not going to help, because it does help. But again, for the sake of expediency, I don't Flintknap that way. So I guess for the sake of irrationality, I don't Flintknap in a rational way. Yeah. Something like that. I'm regularizing because I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. That edge is pretty mangled. And if I was doing this off camera, chances are it would not have been mangled that badly. Chances are. But there's some areas I'm doing better than I would have normally, being more careful than normal, and some areas are just giving me fits because I'm distracted. So I'm thinking. Now, one thing about napping it with expediency is that you can win timed contests. If you're competing and you don't know how to nap with expediency, you're going to be slower than the other guys that are just going for broke and just napping it. And they're depending on a little bit of luck to win. They will win the speed contest, and you won't be, but you'll be doing perfect strikes and coming up with a very nicely made projectile point. But you probably won't win the contests for speed. That's the main advantage of taking risks with the Flintknapping, is the speed. Is speed important? I don't think it's all that important when it comes to Flintknapping. I don't think speed is all that important, but it can be. You never know. You may need to come up with something very fast. You may be in a situation where you can't spend time Flintknapping, very much anyway. Either because you are doing other things in your life that are not Flintknapping related, or you're trying to imitate what it's like to survive. Like you put yourself forcefully into a survival situation where you have to make your weapons quickly. or starve to death or freeze to death. Or maybe not on purpose, but you do it on purpose just to practice. What if I was to be stranded? Could I do something quickly enough to help me survive? So you practice being quick. One of the ways that you become quick is to just take some risks. Yeah. Okay. So I'm getting to the point where not even accurate hits with the type of strength of platform that I have is being effective. So I've got to make the edge even more robust, make the edge even stronger by effectively using my indirect percussion as a beveling method, so I can have more of a beveled edge to drive these flakes. I'm not going to be able to do anything from that side. I'm going to have to do everything from the other side. Pretty much. The only other way to get rid of that, if I can't get it from the other side, the only way to get rid of that is to take back this edge so much that I'm right up against the step fractures. Now I could be picking at it. Let's see. I'll see if I can pick at it a little bit. It helps a little, but not much so far. Who knows? I might be able to improve it a lot. Who knows? Now, why do I like to nap expediently? Is there a reason why I like to? Do I have a desire to do it that way? Is the desire what's motivating me to do it that way? Or is it a relief from the anxiety of always trying to be perfect? I'm the kind of person that I don't really enjoy the journey. Yep, you heard that right. I've said this before. The journey for me is like an itch on my back that I can't reach. I just want to get it. I just want to scratch it and move on. I enjoy looking at these pieces when they are done. I don't really like looking at this during the process. I don't really like the process. And yeah, I have tried to enjoy the process. And I think I do sometimes, and then I come around always to the strange feeling that I'm trying to fool myself. Yep. So that's where that goes. It always goes to, I'm just fooling myself. I really don't like the process or the journey. I want to see it done. I enjoy it when it's done. I feel a relief when it's done. I can examine it and feel satisfaction when it's done. That's where I get my enjoyment. The process itself is not something I desire to do. I just desire the end result. So I don't nap just to nap. I nap for the end result. Okay. I was hoping that would be better. Okay, see how long that flake is? That's about as long as I can get. So can I reach? No, I'm not going to be able to reach these. So I had to think of something else to get rid of that. I'm not going to be able to reach them. That's as long as I can get. I can just go barely halfway with this particular amount of width. So I'm going to have to figure out some other way to clear that off. And this was probably inevitable that I got that mess because of the difficulty of the material. There are two ways I can go about this. Reduce this edge up to those step fractures, like up to this, let's see, right up to there, and then I can power that off. That means I would be right up against this one. I can shoot a flake in this area. If I take back the edge to here, I can Flint-knap that off. Take back the edge to there. I can probably send a flake in this direction. Leave that in, probably. That would be the easiest, just take back the edge. But trying to preserve width is what we're trying to do in most cases. So I'm going to take it back a little bit and see what happens. See if it starts to look like I can send a flake into the step fractures. If I can't, then I'll consider other strategies to eliminate the step fractures other than grinding them off. If I had a tool to grind that off, I could grind that off and just make it smooth again. I can grind all that stuff off and make it smooth, and then just flake over it, hopefully without installing new step fractures. Nothing more frustrating than grinding off a step fracture, trying to flake over the grind marks and then install another step fracture. Nothing more frustrating, other than breaking the tip off. In my view, in my experience, in my opinion. Okay, let's see. Yeah, this is gonna require some very robust edges and a lot of risk, but that's the way I do it. You might be saying, well, that pressure flakes rather nicely, doesn't it? If I hand this to you and you pressure flake it, you will not be able to get flakes like this, Mr. Nicely. Reminds me of Mr. Spacely from the Jetsons. Mr. Spacely, you're spacing out. No, not because of that. Because of the name. I remember Mr. Spacely. Mr. Nicely, you won't be able to get pressure flakes like that right away. If you're brand new. And no, they don't work like that on a thin piece. This is thick. This is clunky. I can put a lot of pressure behind it. A lot of times they don't work like this on a thin piece, because you end up snapping it either with a bite taken out or just snapping the whole tip off if it's near the tip. All right. What am I going to do? It might be better if I had a bigger flaker, but oh well, let's see. Well, oh no, I ruined my... Just before the video, I snapped the sanding belt, so I got to replace the sanding belt. Let's see. I'm going to flatten this. I had put a little bit of a chamfer, but I think that the chamfer was something I wasn't used to. That may have contributed to some of the step fractures, because I'm still not familiar enough with the chamfer to use it properly, so I'm just going to make it rounded again. Why would I put a chamfer on it when I've been using it in the round? I just wanted to try something different. Okay. It's easier to put the chamfer than to try to round it, because I can put a specific angle on it and then nap and see which specific angles are better. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Massive hit. Massive hit. Didn't do much. I don't know, that's risky. I could smack up against that step fracture. Let's see. It just rode up. It rode up like this. Let's see. Let me focus. Focus. All right. What it did is I hit it, but it rode up. It's so hard. Didn't do anything. It just kind of up over the top of that. It didn't even have any effect. On better material, that would have gone further. In case you're wondering. Okay. Take back the edge more. I have to take back the edge some more and see what opportunities pop up. Again, trying to preserve width. I'm not going to take off too much of that edge if I don't have to. Pressure flaking can be used to create a nice bevel without removing too much of the edge. I should be using steel because I don't want to dull my copper tip right now. Yeah. I got 2 of these. I should be using these in the preliminary stages and then the copper at the end because copper grips a little bit better. Although the steel is working pretty good, so I guess it doesn't matter in this particular instance. Why do I go all the way to this? Just because I need to take back the edge anyway. I might be able to run a flake into this area and then run another flake and then another flake. So you start... Well, I can probably start up here. Do a pass. 1 flake there, then another one there, then 1 there and 1 there. Could do it that way. You notice I'm braiding in both directions, yeah. And then I braid across the whole thing. I'm really braiding the living daylights out of it. Yeah. Another reason why I deleted the video is because I wasn't feeling right yesterday. I think I've been eating too many carbs. Anyway, I was feeling a little bit irritable. So if I'm feeling a little bit irritable and I don't like the video, I'm just going to delete it. Yeah. See, I don't want to install the step fractures, but you can see the pattern. You can see how the difficulty in the material is causing, the difficulty in flaking the material is causing a regular pattern in the step fracturing, because that's the typical length of the flake that it likes. This stone likes that particular length of flake. So I've got to force it to give me a better flake. Let's see if I can, maybe I can hit that. Yeah. There we go. Did you see how that worked? That should have been the original flake. It would have been that would have been the original flake on a better material. But with a little more force, I was able to do that. Now it makes it a little bit easier on the next strike because there's less mass. If I get rid of that little piece, let's see. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. Why am I worried? All it takes is a little piece like that, little step fracture like that to cause another step fracture. But the next hit, I was gonna hit here. But I think the next hit will be right there. And I think I'm close enough to this area that I can send in a big flake, but not yet. I still need to beef up that platform. It doesn't feel strong enough. Yeah. Beef up that edge. I'm going to probably say platform, but you don't really see the platform until after the fact. So I'm just going to beef up the edge. And by edge, I mean part of the surface. Yeah, I know it's confusing. The surface, this is the entire surface. You make the surface convex, and you're hitting on the surface when you're hitting, especially with percussion. You can do pressing and striking on the edge with small flakes, or you can make long flakes if the material is cooperative. All right, next segment. This is a good stopping point. Yeah, okay.